We've already had a new Forbidden and Limited list announced to us. We already got some testing done with it too. Smitty YGO actually held a Yugi Streamer Invitational, and we ended up taking second with a deck that I'm super comfortable with, something I just decided to tweak last minute for the new Forbidden Limited list, and that's Tri-Brigade. Tri-Brigade Fractal is our first head honcho here coming up. Main starter of the deck here. We're going to follow up with 3 Tri-Brigade Kit, 3 Tri-Brigade Nerval, and then 2 Tri-Brigade Karis. I think this lineup is pretty standard. The only thing I would be consider bumping up is Tri-Brigade Karis to 3, although it's your extender. You have to have the other Tri-Brigade or a Beast Warrior, Wing Beast in hand to be able to summon it. So if you don't have that, the Karis is actually just the weak side of the bunch. Obviously, the Tri-Brigade deck wouldn't be anything without Tri-Brigade Revolt. 2 of it, probably the best card in this deck, searchable with that of the Bear Brum, and it's also just, it's literally the best card of the deck. You flip this thing and it gets you an absurd amount of advantage on your opponent's turn, being able to trigger things like Nerval and Kit, as well as, being able to summon a Shuriga on your opponent's turn. Get that non-targeting banish. It's huge. Unbelievable. Some of the starters you'll see outside of the deck that aren't the Tri-Brigade engine is, we did talk about it before, we're playing 3 Rescue Cat. I think this is the most explosive card in the deck for sure. If you're able to stick a Rescue Cat and resolve it, it is putting you so far ahead, being able to resolve the Kit to then dump the Nerval and get anything to hand. Also, this card just pairs super well with a card like Psyframe Gear Gamma, clearing your board and you're able to use a Gamma to counter any sort of hand trap that your opponent might have. And then pairing it up with our now 1 of Lone Tenki here. We used to play 3, but we're stuck with the 1. Not a big deal though. Our only searcher in this deck, since we're not playing any of the Zodiac package, is we're only able to search out Tri-Brigade Fractal. Moving on to more staple things in the deck here, we're going to be playing 3 Triple Tactics Talent as a way to respond to our opponent's hand traps, break boards. Just a really generically good card overall. And then we're going to also be playing 3 Pot of Prosperity to dig through our deck a little bit more. Typically, you would be seeing cards like Pot of Desires in a Tri-Brigade deck because it doesn't conflict with Farragut. But we're playing Prosperity because we're playing a whole bunch of 1-ofs in this deck because of the tech card that we're playing, which I'll show you guys later. And then the last kind of staple of the deck, we're playing 1 Imperial Order, just an overall really good card. Surprised this thing didn't get hit by the ban list, honestly. But it is at 1. We're going to play it while we can. Moving on to hand traps, our way to interrupt our opponent. We have a lot of them too. There's a lot of space in this deck to be able to work with, so we're taking full advantage of it. Playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 copies of Effect Veiler, and then our Psyframe Gear Gamma package with the 3 Gamma and the 1 Driver. We're also playing 3 Infinite Impermanence. I feel like these are just the best hand traps overall. Being able to negate normal summons that need to stick, like Diviner, cards like your opponent's Tri-Brigade monster that you can just negate and then leave them in a really bad spot. These all do the trick so well. A card like Psyframe Gear Gamma pairs super well with Rescue Cat, allowing us to get aggressive on turn 1 and punish our opponent if they try to answer our Rescue Cat with like an Ash Blossom. Then we're just going to rip another card out of their hand with Omega. Good looks right there. I just think these are the hand traps that overall have been performing super well, the best out of all of them. And I really don't think that I would change anything. I tried Effect Veiler out for like the first time in a long time. It overperformed. It did super well. Very, very pleased with this hand trap lineup. A solid, I think, 13 of them altogether. Not bad. And then the last portion of the deck profile is just the techs we're going through here. We have the 1 Called by the Grave, which isn't super much of a tech. It's just a way to ensure that we can push through our combos. Very important card in the meta right now. Actually surprised this card wasn't banned, honestly. And then for the big tech, the one that really makes this deck what it is, we play the Red Eyes Fusion, as well as our Red Eyes Fusion package of Dark Magician and Red Eyes Black Dragon. This engine overperformed. Every time that I've busted out the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, it has stunned my opponent. Even just hard drawing the Red Eyes Fusion has been absolutely ridiculous. Every time I've been able to resolve Red Eyes Fusion, it's left my opponent in a really crappy spot, and they've had to address the Dragoon, otherwise they're losing the game. After we go through our whole combo with Revolt, getting the solid advantage off of it, we're able to follow up with a Predaplant Verde Anaconda, stick a Dragoon, and it's another thing our opponent has to out. If we're going second, it could be a way to just close out the game, popping 2 monsters and then getting in for a absolute dump truck load of damage. Starting it off for the Link 4s, we have 2 Tri-Brigade Shurig. We have an Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, as well as Access Code Talker. These are our only Link 4s in the deck here. The only one I'd consider bumping up to 3 is actually the Shurig. Using the Revolt multiple times is a really real strategy, so having the 3rd Shurig does come up, but I've actually been able to cater the extra deck towards a couple other cards. We're only playing 1 Link 3, and that's Tri-Brigade Rugal, the Silver Sheller. A lot of people play the Deagle, the Link 3 bird that shuffles one back from the graveyard. I hate that card. I've never made that card in my life. So I feel like the only 1 Link 3 Rugal works perfectly okay for me. Moving on to Link 2s, we have 2 Tri-Brigade Farragut, the Baron Blossom, and 1 Rampart Rampager, as well as we have an Ancient Warrior's Oath Double Dragon Lord, Psyframe Lord Lambda, Predaplant Verde Anaconda, and our only Link 1 is a Salamangreat Al Mirage. All these Link monsters are used regularly. I feel like there's no room to really toy around with it. The only ones that I feel like I could change are really our Pot of Prosperity banished targets, which we'll talk about in a moment, Lambda being one of them. That's it for the Link monsters. Let's talk about the fusion monsters, of which there's only 2. We have the Magic Key Beast. I'm not going to even bother to try to pronounce that second part there. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and then we only have 1 Synchro, and that is the singular Psyframe Lord Omega. Typically, when we're banishing for a Pot of Prosperity, I'm normally going to banish the Omega, the Magic Key Beast, as well as the Lambda, unless I've opened up one of the engines that's going to be able to use those extra deck targets. Those are typically the targets that I end up using to banish to then reveal the top 3. And it works out pretty well. Normally, I don't have the Instant Fusion or the Gamma to be able to use the Omega anyways. And then Dragoon, as we've already talked about, star of the show, man. He is way too... That is it for the 15 card extra deck. Like I said, the only thing I'd really consider changing is bumping Shurig up to 3. And again, space is already pretty tight. Talking side deck for this event, we start off with the 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops. You know, he's just a house. He's too good. 2 Gamma Seal, the Sea Turtle Kaiju, to be able to deal with any Dragoon decks or anything that's going to be able to play a Protect the Castle strategy. Didn't think any of the pull was going to be on Adignister, but altogether it's just a generically good card. Triple Skull Meister, this card overperformed, really ended up siding it a lot. Oddly enough, I ended up playing like 3 Burning Abyss matchups, which comes up pretty good for it. Also just good against Virtual World, Drytron, any of the other bundles there too. Spell cards, we're playing 3 Twin Twisters to deal with some back row there. And then 3 Dark Ruler No More to be able to deal with big boards like Drytron, which is something I ended up thinking I would play a lot, as well as Dragon Link, which this came up in Dragon Link pretty much. And then last minute inclusion, this was supposed to be 3 Solemn Strike, but we did end up playing 3 Shared Ride, a card that I think is really good against some matchups, just being able to draw multiple cards, get into any of our other hand traps, of which we play plenty of them. This came up in Swiss when I played against Gabe, who was playing a Goki list. If he was to do anything with his Goki combo, he started his turn off with Prosperity. If he wanted to extend at all, he was going to forcibly give me more cards, which allowed me to get more outs to his board that he would have set up, which I didn't think was going to be anything impressive anyways. Card only came up during that matchup. I feel like Strike maybe would have been a little bit better. That's it for the deck profile. This was the Tri-Brigade list that I got 2nd place with at that streamer tournament. I feel really confident with this list. I was playing something similar to it last format before the ban list. Didn't have to do much tweaking afterwards. But all the testing that I've done has led me to believe that this list is extremely solid. It's something that I'm looking forward to playing this weekend in New York as we travel for a 3v3 tournament. I'm looking forward to this format and everything it has to offer, and I'm hoping this Tri-Brigade list is going to be able to put in work throughout it.
Yeah, you don't have like an out.
I don't really. I'm just gonna close it like I normally do. I really don't have a way to close this video. Thanks for watching. No, I don't know.
And goodbye.